In the name of Amen the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time, the Mentalists. Menzeka Aminun to all of my mentalist brothers and sisters out there, registered members of the Republic of Mentellect, and to all registered mentalists who are in the Republic of Mentellect, or future mentalists who have yet to become members of the Republic of Mentellect, which is Amen's covenant. We send greetings out to you, and we send peace out to you in our Mentellian language by saying to you, Menzeka Aminun. Good evening, I am your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is Mentellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be discussing Satan. Is Satan the true God of the Bible and the Quran and the religious world, for that matter? The answer is yes. Not only is Satan, who is known as the devil, right? Satan, Lucifer, the gods of the Bible that are spoken of, and that these so-called religious organizations and groups and movements are speaking about when they're speaking about God. God, these are, in fact, the only gods that are spoken of, that are praised and worshipped in the Bible and the Quran. Satan or Lucifer. Satan represents their God on the dark side, and Lucifer represents the God on the light side. Lucifer is the light bearer. Satan is the prince of darkness. What is the darkness? The darkness represents the physical world, the material world, dark matter, the earth. Satan, Satanists. This is why your Satanists wear all black, right? Your Luciferians wear white, right? They tend to wear white because that represents the light. The light that they're speaking about is moonlight, right? And the moonlight is the reflection of the sun's brightness, right? I said before when I was talking about spirit and physical, I said that the spiritual world that everybody's always talking about in the religious world is here on earth. It is the other side of the physical world, the three-dimensional world, right? It's the polar opposite that exists in the three-dimensional plane. So does Satan and Lucifer. Lucifer is the lord of the lunar world or the spiritual world. Lucifer, the light bearer. Satan is the lord or the god of the earth, the dark world. And this represents people, Luciferians, Satanists, right? One on the dark side, another group on the left hand, on the right side, the left hand side and the right hand side. The Satanists and the Luciferians. It's all the same God. That's who they worship in the Bible and the Quran. How do you know this? Because if you read all of this stuff, because according to the so-called gods in the Bible, right, where there's talking about confusion and God being a jealous God and things like this, and take no gods before me, those are actually people, rulers, kings, right, of different lands who were Luciferians, right? Because, well, let me explain what Luciferianism and Satanism really is. It is people who make themselves gods or set themselves up as gods on earth and disconnect from the Creator. That's who Luciferians and Satanists are. I'm going to say it again. The people who make themselves gods or goddesses, right, on earth, and they separate from the Creator. In other words, they don't give acknowledgement to the Creator of this physical plane, these dimensions, or anything. They try to make it seem as though they got here on their own, right? And they worship things like the elements. In other words, they worship the creations, but not the Creator. They disconnect from the Creator of all. And they say that they are the gods here on earth and that they are the power. That is your church. That is your mosque. That is your temples. That is your synagogues. They represent their own gods on earth. These are people who stepped in the place of the Creator, who have made themselves or set themselves up as gods or higher authorities and disconnected themselves from the Creator. And that's all these churches. That's all these religions. The Pope, right, is the God of the Catholic Church. Your reverend is really the God of your church. He interprets the Bible, and you basically follow him. He has no connection, or they have no connection to the Creator. They do not acknowledge or believe in the Creator. They believe in themselves as gods, right? They believe in themselves as gods. Now, people say, that thing in the part in the Bible where it said, "Ye are gods," right? That was meant to be judges, because the true elect ones of the Most High, the Creator, whose true name is Amen, right? The true ones, the true people of the Lord, Amen, the Creator, were set up to be judges on earth. This is why they received laws, statutes, and commandments to set up kingdoms, governments, empires, I should say, on earth, after the order of the Lord, Amen, the Most High, the Creator, to follow out His order, or it should say that race of gods, those supreme beings, of which you know as extraterrestrials, the creators of this planet. But if you listen to a lot of these organizations, these movements out here, they've set themselves up as God and have disconnected themselves to the Creator. These people say, in science, they'll say, oh, there is no God. They'll say they're atheists, right? And they'll say that they reject the theory of a supreme being or supreme creator. They say they reject that theory, which is not a theory at all. It is a reality. But they don't want to deal with that reality. They rather deal with the belief that they are gods on earth. They rather deal with that. They rather talk about science and how stuff just happened and whatnot, and they want to edit out the creator, knowing damn well that this didn't all get here by some explosion or by chance, that this was calculated and this was thought out by higher intelligent beings, right, known as the lords or the creators of this planet. But they don't want to deal with that, because then they have to fall into an order and they have to fall in line, and they don't want to. Your Luciferians, like I said, are the light bearers, and your Satanists are the ones on the dark side, the physical, the landlords, right? That's who they are. That's why they refer to Satan as the prince of darkness and Lucifer as the angel of light. Light is the spiritual world. Darkness is the earth, right? This is why your priests and all of them, they wear dark or black suits to represent Saturn, right? They represent Saturn, which is Satan, right? And the Israelites, they have their Sabbath, right? Their Sabbath days, or their Sabbath days is Saturday. Again, worshiping Saturn. They follow the moon. Their high holy days, right, are based in the lunar cycle, the light, not the sun. They want to lie and say that this earth is run by sun worshippers. That's a lie. It's run by moon worshippers, those who are of Eve's seed, because those who are of Eve's seed, those beings who are of Eve's seed, they follow man. They're disconnected from the Creator. The creations have been disconnected from the Creator. And man, right, through his Luciferianism, from him setting up his societies on earth, who has made himself gods over man, have taken the place of, or have attempted to take the place of the Creator. Right? They have attempted to take the place of the Creator, stepping in as representatives of the Creator on earth. This is why, if you notice, when your so-called Israelites are pointing to Abraham, right, they're pointing to Abraham in the Bible and his sons Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael and Isaac, right, again, is the breakdown of Anu, Enki, and Enlil. But in the story of Abraham, who is really a Chaldean from Babylon, right, worshiper of pagan gods, worshiper of elements, right, fire, things like that. Abraham is speaking about sacrificing his son to his God, right? And then his God tells him, no, I'll take a goat instead. He stops him from sacrificing his son. He's ready to kill his son for his God. Then he was ready to sacrifice a ram or a goat, an animal. Is that not what Satanists do? They sacrifice people and they sacrifice animals. How is that any different than the description of rituals that are described by your so-called Abrahamic religions, where they sacrifice people and rather sacrifice animals? Now, Abraham is seen as the father of all three monotheistic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Now, if he is a Babylonian and Chaldean and worshiper of element or pagan gods, and you look it up, your so-called Chaldeans and your people in Chaldea, they will followers of pagan gods. Basically, what you see today when you see these people who are in the so-called conscious community who are really Luciferians too. They don't know it, but they are. When they sit talking about the black man is God, the black woman is God, and we worship the elements and space and the fire and the water, that's Luciferianism. That's all that is. That's straight Luciferianism. But they don't even know that because they don't acknowledge the Creator. They acknowledge nature, but not the Creator. The Creator created nature. Nature is nothing but a system. It's the same way these so-called scientists will say there is no creator, there is no supreme grand designer or creator of everything. They'll just talk about the Big Bang Theory. In other words, they're describing the mechanics of how things came to be, but they don't want to talk about the actual together. They don't want to give credit to the creator. They don't talk about the creations. That's Luciferianism. That's Satanism. When you don't bear witness to the creator, you're severing the connection with those who are seeking that power from the Creator. And they don't want certain people to have that connection to the Creator. They want to present themselves as the creators on earth or the powers or the gods on earth. So that's the gods they're talking about. When they're saying, have no gods before me, that verse in the Bible, we're talking about God is a jealous God, and God said you can't have no gods before him. Obviously, there has to be other gods that this God is jealous of. Those gods represent physical kings who set themselves up as rulers or gods on the earth. And your Abraham was sacrificing goats and his son to people, to men, not to no Lord, not to no creator. That's a lie. Because what creator, what most high, what supreme being would demand a sacrifice of a person or an animal? That's people that do that. People do stuff like that. They want to know if you loyal to them. They want to know if you will kill your son for them. That's people in cults and in covens. And that's what the hell your Abraham was a part of. Why? Because he comes out of Ur Chaldea, and they were a bunch of They were a bunch of pagans, or they followed pagan religions. They worshipped idols, elements. They're Satanists. They're hardcore Satanists. Right? I brought out the fact of the so-called wearing the beard and whatnot of the so-called Israelites and your Jews and whatnot. Like I said, that is the beard of the billy goat beard that your so-called Satanists wear. Right? That's the same thing. That's the same thing because again, they never tell you anything about the Lord that they supposedly worship. They're always talking about men. You don't ever find it strange that they're talking about men all the time and what men do, and the societies that's set up in their religions, right? They're talking about the Pope. They talk about the priest. They talk about all of these men who are set up as authorities within their religious system and their belief system. Yet they never talk about the Creator, their Lord, their God. They never talk about that because they don't have no connection to any Lord and no Most High, no Creator. They don't have any connection. You understand that? They have no connection to no Creator. Those who are created have severed their connection to the Creator. They're in the three-dimensional world. This is why your so-called religious people worship what? In threes: Father, Son, Holy Ghost, or Holy Spirit. Spirit. All right? This is why they do that. This is why the whole thing of God and the devil, right? God and the devil, because as they show you, God and the devil go hand in hand. It's like they set God and the devil up as adversaries. So if you're setting God and the devil up as adversaries against one another, then that means they're equal. And if they're equal, they're the same. They're the same. Because what they're really telling you is their God is Satan. Right? Their God is Satan. Without Satan, there's no God, and without God, there's no sin. Because see, God is only a title. It's only a title. Anybody can be a God. You don't find it funny that none of these so-called religions barely have any laws, statutes, and commandments to go by. Your so-called Israelites only got 10 commandments. Your Christians don't really have no commandments. And your Muslims, they don't have no real laws or statutes or commandments. Not at all. They don't have that. And you notice that a lot of the so-called degenerate and negative people, right, they tend to gravitate toward religion. Why? Why do these negative people gravitate toward religion? The liars, the thieves, the drug dealers, the homosexuals, the lesbians, all the degenerate gravitate toward religion. Now, if that was truly a setup of the Creator or the Most High, who demands that man and woman be, if it demands that man and woman be in obedience to a higher authority, and that they govern themselves by a higher authority, then why are all these degenerates following it then? Why are these degenerates following? Why do they follow these religions? Why are they all sitting in the churches and whatnot? You would think they wouldn't be able to sit in the churches and sit in these places and whatnot, the temples and the synagogues and the mosques and whatnot. And here it is, these people are pedophiles, right? Child rapists, homosexuals, lesbians, all sorts of degeneracy. Why would they be attracted to something? Why would they all come in mass numbers and talk about following a God who's okay with that, who forgives that sort of thing? Why? Because their God is Satan, and their God is okay with that kind of behavior. He's okay with that degenerate behavior because their God is a man. They're talking about men here. Go back to the story of how they say Satan got into hell, because it's meant to be a symbolic story. They say that Satan, or Lucifer, was an angel of light, right? And he got kicked out of heaven, and he got thrown into hell. And he said, according to the story, which is symbolic, it said he became Satan, or Lucifer became Satan, the prince of darkness, right? And he said that it's better to rule in hell than to serve in heaven. What did that mean? That means that when he got down to hell, which is really earth, he decided it's better to be down here disconnected from the Creator or the Most High and be his own God on earth, rather than be connected to the Most High in the heavens and have to serve and follow an order and authority. That's the same mindset of these people who are in the church, who are in the temples, who are in the synagogues. They set up their own pagan religions. They basically started doing what they wanted to do and making themselves gods and disconnected to Creator. That's Luciferianism and Satanism, and that's all these churches are connected to. They're connected to their own beliefs, their own ideologies, their own rituals. That's what they're connected to. They are not connected to the Creator. They do not acknowledge the Creator. They don't even know what the Creator is. Your Muslims are following Muhammad, a man. He is their Allah. The Arab families are their Allah. They don't even know what Allah is. You understand? They say Allah is a spirit. They say in Christianity, God is a spirit. That means he's Lucifer. He's a light bearer, because spiritual power represents light power or lunar power. They can't tell you anything short of that. Why? Because they are in the world of darkness. They don't know what their God is, so they follow man. Man controls their enlightenment as their Lucifers, their light bearers, the ones who are seeking enlightenment. That's lunar activity. That's why all these religions go by the moon. They don't go by the sun. They go by the moon. They go by baptism, which is based in water, which is based in what? Libations. Spiritual energy. Spirit energy is based in water. Soul energy is based in fire. Right? So again, these people let you know all the time, even in their description of what they call God in the heaven, they're describing people. They're describing places. They're describing possessions as heaven or haven, a place to go where they have bountiful or plentiful resources of people, places, and possessions. And the description they make of God and going to heaven is basically a Greco-Roman description. God is sitting on a throne with a white robe on and a beard on. That's a Greco-Roman description. The white robe, the toga, that comes from the Greeks and the Romans. Okay, the land of milk and honey and all this other stuff. And the Muslims say they go into heaven to get 77 dark-eyed maidens and whatnot. So basically, they want physical things. They want people, places, and possessions. Again, the material world, in which they even say Satan is the god of the physical world. They'll say Satan is the god of the physical world, Shaitan. So if Satan is the god of the physical world, then where's Allah at? Because they stay talking about Shaitan this and Shaitan that, Shaitan this and Shaitan that, Satan this and Satan that. Where is their God at? Where's their Most High? Where's the Creator at? Why don't they talk about the Creator? How can you claim to worship something you don't even understand? How can you claim to worship something you don't even understand? They can't tell you what Allah is. So, how do they follow? And they say Allah is the Creator, the Most High, but they can't even tell you what Allah is. They can tell you who Muhammad is. They can tell you about the rituals that in the Quran, and they could tell you about the what is it this rituals, the Islamic rituals, basically the activities of men, basically the activities of men. Your so-called Israelites, they'll sit around here and talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but where's the talk about the Creator at? I thought it was supposed to be about the Creator or the worship of the Creator. Why are they never talking about the Creator? They're always talking about Abraham and Isaac and Ishmael. People, right? People who were following pagan gods. They leave out that little thing about Abraham being a pagan, right? They leave that out. Now, if these so-called prophets, who you never can seem to find nowhere, buried nowhere, nothing, if they are supposedly following a creator, why don't they give a description of the creator and what the creator wants ultimately? Why don't they give a description? Why is it that there's so much confusion about what man's role is supposed to be in following the hierarchy of the Creator? Why is there so much confusion? Why are there so many different religions? Answer: because these are men who have made themselves gods and set up their own religions or their own pagan religions on earth. And their pagan religion, they following after Lucifer, Satan. I'm my own God. There is no creator. I'm my own God. There is no creator. I'm my own God. Everything just blew up and fell into place. There is no Most High. It's all about the elements and the nature and the fire. Ain't that what a lot of them so-called conscious people talk about? Isn't that what they talking about in Pan-Africanism? They worship the ancestors, people, Africa, places, the gold, the silver, elements. That's what they worship. They no different than the Caucasians and them who worship icons and idols and stuff like that, statues and things like that. Rocks, like the Arabs. They kissing stones, the rocks, rock worshippers. There's no difference. They do not acknowledge any creator. They don't. You'll hear them, all they ever talk about is man. What these people did in the past, how these people were set up in the past. Why are they not talking about the Creator? Because they have no connection to the Creator. They do not believe in a Creator. They don't. They believe in man, who is Satan, Lucifer. That vibration is heavy on the earth because when those Luciferians, when a lot of the people was cut loose from the Amen Bing and they came here, they started becoming their own gods. They decided to do things on their own when they were severed from the connection of Amen. And what you see these people doing today on earth, they have picked up that vibration where they want to do their own thing and whatnot. And they're basically following after order of those fallen angels who came here. The ones who became malevolent and started doing their own thing. They disconnected from the Amen Bing. And they became their own gods. And they set up their own societies. And a lot of these societies who are following after them are doing the same thing. They doing the same thing. When they show you those angels, right? They'll show you the angel in one breath, then they'll show you a winged demon in another breath, right? They'll show you winged demons, winged angels, and whatnot. That represents some of that fallen angels who came down here, or those fallen Amen beings who came down here, were disconnected, who were cut off and left here on the earth. Some of that was the elect in there, and some of that were the malevolent ones in there. They chose to follow the malevolent ones. The malevolent ones set up kingdoms and societies on earth as well. They made covenants with the cave people, with the people of the fields, the pagans. So when you hear these people talking about they were offering their gods goats and rams and whatnot, they were offering them food. They were offering their gods, which are demons, food. Okay? That's what they were offering them. They were offering them goats and cows and rams and whatnot to eat. Reptilians. Some demons that came down here who were cut off. The ones who became malevolent. And they decided they were going to be the gods of man. And these are the same people that they following today. They do not, I'm going to say this again, these people in religion do not follow the Creator. They do not follow the Creator because they don't even understand what the Creator is. In order for you to understand what the Creator is, the best account is your book of Revelation. That's the only way you understand where the Creator starts to step in. Because if you notice in the book of Revelation, everybody that was in the churches, the temples, the synagogues, they get, you know what I'm saying, they get basically lambasted and kicked to the curb. Why? Now, if these people were supposedly following the Creator, your Christians, that they talk about, they speak against the churches in Revelation, they speak against the synagogues and all the, and that church, those churches include the Christian church, they include the Islamic mosque, and also include the synagogues of Satan. Why does the book of Revelation speak against all of these religious denominations? Why do they speak against them? Answer: because they were following Satan, Lucifer. They were following the light bearers. They were basically following the Illuminati. This is who represents the Luciferians or the Satanists on earth. This is who represents them today. The worshipers of those Amen being who fell down here to earth, the malevolent ones. They worship them, the ones who were cut off. The ones who became demonic spirits in the earth that can't leave here. They worship those spirit energies that are cut off and locked into the earth, like I was talking about with the spiritual energy. They worship that. That is the light that they worship. That is when they talk about going to the light. The light they're going to is the spirit world in which the Luciferians control. That's why they do all these seances and stuff like that, and they're trying to redirect energy within the spirit realm. That's why they say, oh, the spirit is jumping on me, the spirit got on me, the spirit got this, and the spirit got that, because these people are spiritually possessed in the dark world. These people worship Satan and Lucifer. Again, Satan and Lucifer are the same person. It's the same person. It represents the same group of people. The people who set themselves up as gods here on earth over you, through the monetary system, through the governments, right? Through the music industry, through the movie industry. That's all Satanism. People who set themselves up as gods over the people. And they have disconnected themselves, or they are disconnected from the Creator. They do not bear witness to any Creator. They are lying when they say they worship a God. The God they're worshiping is Satan, the fallen angels, the malevolent fallen angels who came here, the ones who are not going to connect to Amen again. This is who they worship. And they receive their power from them, their knowledge from them. But that knowledge is starting to wear thin. That knowledge is starting to wear thin. That's why it says in the book of Revelation, the elect are going to be raised from amongst these people, from these churches, these synagogues of Satan and things like that, these people who are in the churches following the Satanists. That's why, again, they were pushed to the side. They were being shown to be hypocrites, liars, a.k.a. believers. And they want you to follow the same thing. Like I said, this is why the church is so driven by material. They're driven by the material. All your priests and your reverends who are dressed in black, they worship Satan. They worship Satan through the Masonic temples. They worship Satan. That's the God they're talking about. That's the God they're really talking about, because the black they're wearing, just like your judges, right? Your judges in your court system, they worship Satan too. Your witches dressed in black worship Satan too. The dark side of Lucifer. The dark side of Lucifer. They worship Satan. Because, again, it represents the worship of material possession, because they do what they do for the want and the desire of material possession. If you look at the people in Hollywood, you'll see a lot of these so-called actors, and they stay wearing black. Your Kevin Harts and all these people like that, Nick Cannon, these people stay dressed in black because they worship Satan or Saturn. And the white ones, all throughout that industry, they are Satan worshipers. Like I said, the ones who set themselves up as gods on earth without a connection to the Creator, they are Luciferians. A lot of you people pushing that the black man is God, like you guys did in the 5% Nation, or now you Negroes in the damn conscious community pushing the black woman as God. You pushing Satanism and Wicca and the Wicca and that Wicca religion, that Dianic Wicca religion, which is nothing but the worship of Eve's seed, like I said. You pushing up the woman, or the female, I should say, as God. You pushing her up as God. And you disconnected from the Creator. See, what they practice is something called Dianic Wicca, right? Now, the Diana, right, comes from the word Dina, which is what they say in Islam. Dina is Dinul Islam, which is what is the symbol in Islam? The star and the crescent moon, Luna. You understand that? They represent the crescent moon, the Luna. Again, your Israelites, all their high holy days are lunar, on the lunar calendar. They have to watch lunar activity. That spiritual energy being divided up. Okay? Ask them about their father Abraham. Ask them where he come from. Ask them, and I want some of these Israelites to get on the phone. Now, like I know when this goes up on YouTube, the Israelites they're gonna try, oh, this brother don't know what he's talking about, but they won't call in and debate it. They won't say I'm wrong. Ask them where they so-called Abraham come from. He's from Babylon, Chaldea, where they were element of fire worshipers, much like you Negroes do today. See, it's all the same thing. They might change the names over a little bit, but it's still the same thing. It's still the same setup. You understand that? You got to ask yourself, why do all of the negative people come into religion? Why do all the negative people, all the degenerate people come into religion? Why is the gangbanger wearing a cross on his neck? Why is the drug dealer wearing? Why is the hoe in church? Why is the homosexuals there? Why are all the degenerates there? And they still doing their activity. They ain't trying to change because they don't acknowledge no creator. See, when you deal with the creator, the Most High, you have to then alter yourself to be on a higher level, to be on a higher pedestal. You have to follow statutes, codes, and commandments, and conduct, and codes of conduct. You're supposed to be raising the bar, but these people don't raise the bar. Hell, they lower it even more. They lower it even more. The story of the Israelites, when they said they was in the desert, right? Then they said they started worshiping what? A golden calf. Golden calf. Idol worship. Yet they supposed they had a Lord or a God with them that spoke to them, but yet they had no problem with turning right around and worshiping a golden calf. Because that's all they ever did. They worship idols. They worship material. You understand? They do it in this form where they tell you, when, again, what they say, why do they do what they do? You're Israelites, you're Christians, and Muslims. Because when they say when they go to heaven, which is when they say they go into heaven, they really mean the spiritual world, right? The lunar world on the side of light. When they go into the spiritual world, what they really saying is, oh, when we go over to that side, we're going to get spiritual power. And then we're going to get all the things we want. We're going to get the gold, the women. We're going to get wine. We're going to get riches. So what they're saying is they doing it because they want material things. They want dark matter. Again, that's what your so-called Satanists may do. What do they sell out for in Hollywood to start worshiping Satan? They sell out for what? Material goods, money, cars, jewelry, houses. That's what they sell out for. What does the woman sell her body for? Material possessions. These people are Satanists, man. They're Satanists. In the so-called church, right? They tell you that in the prosperity church, right? In the church's prosperity, they tell you God wants you to have all this material stuff, and God wants you to have all this material things, and they make it all about that. And give me this money and whatnot. Oh, these people worship material possessions. It's the same idol worship. A golden calf, some money, gold, silver, jewelry, right? The Jews, they worship money. They worship money. They don't worship no creator. They don't believe in a creator. They worship money. They worship money. That's why they have last names like gold, silver, things like that. They worship money because they want to use money to control people because they want to be seen as gods. God's chosen people. What they're really saying, they're going to be the gods on earth. They want to be the gods on earth. They are Luciferians. And your high Zionists are Satanists, light bearers. You understand that? That's why a lot of your Jews, they dress in black too. Your Hasidics, they dress in black. That's Satanism. You understand that? The variation or the worship of Saturn, the sun. Right? That's what that represents. See, a lot of people, like I said, they don't realize this because, like I said, you follow religion, and they tell you, oh, if you follow religion on one side, and then you don't agree with religion on one side, then you could become an atheist on the other side, right? Then they say you become that on the other side. You could become an atheist on the other side if you're not religious, but it's still the same thing because in religion, they have they tell you to follow the spirit, right? Spirit energy, right? Unseen, right? Saying that the creator is absent, right? It's just energy. What they tell you in science, everything is energy, right? Right? This is what they telling you. They do not acknowledge no creator. Ask them next time about the creator. Ask them what the creator is. Ask them, is the creator different than God? If they say they follow the creator, tell them to describe the creator. Tell them to describe what the creator wants from them. Because if they can't describe what the creator ultimately wants, then that means that they do not follow the creator. If they tell you a bunch of physical things, ask them why they follow their God. That's all you got to do is ask them the question, why do they follow their God? Because they're looking for rewards. They're looking for rewards. They're looking for material possessions or dark matter things in the material world. That's what they're telling you. How is it that your so-called priests and all these people can claim that they follow the Creator, right? They follow the Lord, the Creator, the Most High, which they don't. They really don't. They say they follow God, which God is the Pope. How can they say they follow these gods and the Creator, but yet you molesting little kids? You ain't worrying about how your Lord or the Lord or the God, the Most High, the Creator, is going to punish you, right, or destroy you, right? How can you exist in a system that's supposed to be for the betterment or the higher belief and a greater power, but then you're up here being degenerates and lowlives? You don't have no fear of the Lord or the Creator for the things you do. Reason is because you don't believe in the Creator. You're disconnected. The God that you answer to is the Pope. That's who you answer to. In that movie Rosemary's Baby, when they showed you the devil coming up from hell, right? They impregnate Rosemary, who came to watch the ceremony, the sex ceremony between the devil, right? Who came to watch the sex ceremony between the devil and Rosemary? The Pope. And he was dressed in black. The guy who started the Church of Satan in California, Anton LaVey, used to be a Catholic priest. He's dead now, right? He was dressed in his all black. You understand that? He was dressed in his all black. He's showing you. They're showing you that it's all connected. That these people all worship Satan. They letting you know that. You understand? In case you didn't know. They letting you know. That's why you can see all of these so-called people in the religious world. They do all the degeneracy in the things they do, but yet they don't have any fear of consequence of the things they do. Because they claim to be God-fearing people or fearing the Lord, then why don't they fear? Then why don't they stop doing the things they do? Because they know that the true people that they answer to is the people who are the heads of the church. The people who are the heads of the church represent worship Satan. They worship Satan. Your priests, your ministers, your reverends, they worship Satan. And the higher ups, the ones who are on a higher level, the so-called spiritual ones, they worship Lucifer. Right? They can't tell. Why can't they ever tell you what the true name of God is? Why is it all these different names for God? Or they're supposed to be the Creator. Why do they have all these different names? Answer: because they have chosen to follow their own versions of Lucifer or Satan. They have chosen to follow their own versions. I'm going to take a call. 864. 864.
Hey, Listen, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Listen, everyday interaction with these people, how do you deal with them knowing that they're disconnected, but you deal with them every day because you've created this life to feed your family and do these things for your kids? You know what I mean? How do you deal with these Satan worshiping people on an everyday life?
I don't. I keep it moving. I don't care what these people do. They don't affect me. They only affect you if you're one of them.
Meaning emotionally? Meaning affect you?
Yeah. I don't. None of them affect me emotionally because I don't have no emotions. I don't care about these people. I do this to just. I do this to inform the ones who are bringing their souls intact, the ones whose souls are intact. Because, like I said, my job is to gather the souls of Amen. My job is not to worry about the people who are in the spiritual realm who want to follow the Luciferians and the Satanists. I don't care about them. I'm just doing this to bring the souls of those who are the elect of Amen away from them. That's it. I'm only interested in them. I'm not interested in the black race, the white race, those who want to follow Lucifer, Satan, who want to be in these churches. I don't care about these people. They all Luciferians and Satanists. Half of them know, some of them don't even know. Like I said, those ones who practice the witchcraft or that's all. It's all Luciferianism. God is my personal savior. You understand? That's all Luciferianism.
So,
okay.
Yes, sir. So, it's just rough out here, man. It's rough out here, man. I feel it's rough because I just don't even deal with them because I know that they're lost. I know that they're not even alive. They're dead to me. They're dead because they make no sense.
So why are you worried about it then?
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I was just curious as to, I own my business, and I walk into these facilities, and they talk to me, and they deal with me, and they interact with me, earning a living, and it's annoying because to me they're lost and they're dangerous because they are lost. So I don't know. I'm just rambling, man. I've been listening to you a long time now, man, and this is my first time ever calling in, so everything you say makes sense. You seem
like you're kind of overwhelmed and things like that, and you're thinking about it too much. Like I said, I don't care about none of these people. You understand?
I understand.
Yeah, I just don't care about these people. So, but like I said,
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
Take care. Yeah, like I said, I'm not interested in what these people do and whatnot. It just came to me to do this and whatnot because, a lot of you people who are into the science thing, you into the philosophy thing, there is no God, there's no creator, there's science. You so-called science Negroes and these people pushing science, and you following the white man and whatnot. Because really, what these scientists are doing, they're putting themselves up as God. They're setting themselves up as gods, and for you to fight to listen to them and follow them. And that's Satanism. They're not going to tell you about the Creator. They don't want to talk about the Creator. They want you to look at them as gods. And you do look at them as gods because you look to them for the answers on how old the earth is, how long the earth been around, and whatnot. And these people have no connection whatsoever with the Creator. They say there is no Creator. They can sit and tell you stuff like that, and that appeals to a lot of you so-called people out here because you don't want to be in line because the very people, the whole thing, again, the story of Satan or Lucifer, who was kicked out of heaven and arrived down here, he didn't want to follow the order of the Amen beings. Those malevolents didn't want to follow the orders of the Amen beings. Some of them became malevolent. They started to resent the Amen beings, and they set up their own. They set up their own society here on Earth, And by doing that, they disconnected a lot of their followers, the people who would follow them. And this vibration continues to this day. This is why you'll get these people, these so-called scientists. In order for you to believe in science or believe in the whole scientific thing, you have to say there is no creator. You have to say there's no creator. There's no Most High. You understand? By you putting all that energy into the prophets and with these so-called men did in the ancient world, you're taking more energy away from the Creator. Right? Because again, once you get into that spiritual energy, once you open yourself up as a vessel for that spiritual energy of God, you then open yourself up in that spiritual energy of the devil. Because God is Lucifer. The devil is Satan. I'm going to say it again in case you didn't hear me. God in the Bible is Lucifer. The devil in the Bible or is Satan. The devil is Satan. God is Lucifer. It's the same person. Polar opposites. Like you have good and bad side to you, positive and negative. There's hot and cold. There's Satan and Lucifer. The one who is of light and the one of darkness. It's the same thing. That's what they worship. That's the mindset of man, that dualistic mentality, that dualistic principle. That's the mindset of woman and man, the Eve seeds. They have that dualistic or double-minded nature. They say one thing 1 minute, then they change the next minute. They say one thing 1 minute, they change the next minute. Those are people that are possessed by that Luciferian energy. Because the true people of the Lord, they say one thing and that's it. That's it. The Lord don't change. The Lord lays down the law. The Lord lays down the law. Ones who are of the Lord keep the order of the Lord. Right? Those are the judges that were set up on earth. That's who the elect are going to be raised as. That's why the elect were told to separate from the rest of the people on the earth, the churches, the temples, the synagogues of Satan. See, that's when they were being redeemed. And it's speaking about in the book of Revelation, the children of Israel, not Israel. Because Israel, those so-called Israelites are Luciferians. Your so-called Israelites are Luciferians. They're paganists. People who follow and do the rituals of Satanists. Again, that's why they sacrifice rams and goats and sheep and whatnot and all this other nonsense. Lamb. They wear the damn goatee beards. Wearing the sackcloth. You understand? A lot of stuff they do in these rituals. You'll see a lot of the stuff they do in these rituals in Islam, Judaism, and Christianity is the same stuff they do in Satanism. It's the same thing. The Satanic Bible, it goes right along with a lot of the principles of the irregular Bible. You understand? That's why the people that so-called believe in God, notice they craft or they set their God up to be just like them. In other words, their God basically mimics the way they think, so that they don't have to follow an order. You know how they say, they'll say, oh, my God would never do this. My God don't hate people. My God ain't like this. My God is this, that, and the third. They basically shape their God to how they are. And if you shape your God to how you are, that means you are taking on the role of the Creator or the role of God, and you are disconnecting yourself from the Creator. You are taking on the role of God. That's what that really means. Call 954.
Yeah, Brother Newman, how you doing, brother?
How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thanks. Brother Newman, what's your view on what came about? I think it was last week. Since you're speaking about these scientists come up with they've been dabbling around with this DNA and cloning and all this. And they cloned those animals last out of cloning, and that's what they revealed to us. What do you think about this cloning stuff? What do you think they're up to with this cloning? These scientists and these people that you're talking about.
They're trying to continue the work that the Amen Bing did when they came down here. Because, see, cloning was always known about by those malevolent Amen Bings who were left here and whatnot. They knew about the cloning, and they were on the spiritual side as Lucifer or the Luciferian and whatnot, the spiritual energy. So they would send messages to those who were of the Luciferian or the Illuminati to get that scientific knowledge. Because a lot of these people talked about how they would have these seances and these rituals where they would be receiving knowledge from these malevolent beings, these spiritual beings, which is really the malevolent group of those fallen almond beings who came down here, who got locked into the earth, who went on into the spiritual side or the lunar side, and they send messages via that way. So they're just following out the order. They're following out that scientific equation of cloning and whatnot because they want to be the gods on earth. They want to be the gods on earth that are separate from the Creator. So because the almond beings were the first ones that were cloning people and cloning animals and things like that. You know, they were the first ones doing it.
Because I know they've been doing it with the lives matter towards agricultural, but they came out with 2 monkeys last week. What they're saying is, if you had a mother, they clone your mother. It's not like having a twin. The DNA would be exactly. The cloning would be exact as the other, be the same. You can have, yeah. So it's when people haven't been watching this for years, I always suspect they've been in some of these laboratories and some of these places, coming up with different things and crossing these so-called humankind and people with other species of life. So I know they've been playing around with anything that the so-called man thinks of. They'll definitely try to attempt if they can. So I know they've been doing stuff for a long time, but they finally showed you and I these monkeys that they clone identical clones, and they're identical in every way. So I just wanted to see what your thoughts was on that. So you take care. Keep teaching, brother. I feel like the brother that called in, there's very few people we can run about and run into and have a conversation about anything that makes any sense anymore. So they're so programmed. But you take care, brother, all right?
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Next call up. 954.
Hey, how you doing, Nuba?
How you doing?
Pretty good. It's just referring to tonight's lesson when you spoke a little bit about exorcisms, and I just want to know, like, because I grew up in the church and I've seen these things firsthand, you know, as a child coming up. So my question is, I guess, if God, Lucifer, that's the same person. So when they say in the name of Jesus, all that stuff come out, I command you to come out, they doing the exorcism. What's really going on there when you actually hear, you know, demons reply and all that stuff?
Well, Jesus is really another name for Lucifer. Jesus is Lucifer.
Right.
When they talking about pulling demons out of people and whatnot, because all that represents is a transfer of energy, because they're the same people that open you up as a vessel for demons to come into you, so they know how to take them out. They know how to take them out and send them in, because that's what directing of that spiritual energy is, those demonic energies is, being able to guide them in and guide them out. Jesus is nothing but Lucifer. All right. They showed this. You know what? You know when they showed this, the white man knows this. I remember. I never forget this. There was an episode on the Twilight Zone, right? And I mean the old Twilight Zone. Guess how you know these Luciferians? They'll put stuff out and they'll show you stuff secretly. It was a guy who had there was these group of so-called monks or whatever. They had the devil. They said they had the devil locked up in a room, right? And they had this little staff key on the door, right? And they would they told this man, don't open the door because you're gonna unleash the devil. No matter how much he cried and begged to get out, he said, we got the devil locked up. We caught him. So what happened is, the man kept asking to come out and whatnot. He was like pleading with him to come out, and out of his cell, he was asking the man who the monks that the monks let the guy stay there. He kept asking him. Now the guy that was locked up in the cell looked like Jesus. He had long hair, the beard looked just like Jesus, white Jesus, right? He was locked up, right? So then he was begging, and he basically got the sympathy of the man who let him out. And when he let him out, that Jesus transferred right into Satan. It had the horns, everything, and he transferred right into Satan. So what they were basically showing you is Satan, Lucifer, Jesus, all the same person.
So basically, he talking to himself. In other words, I don't know. They communicate
They
together.
They're chanting out a name, brother. They're chanting out a name.
Right.
Okay. That's all they're doing is chanting out a name.
So if someone being exposed to that, would that open them up to now that window for them to be, I guess, tormented or things like that, and they sleep or in dreams and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because see, here's the thing: these people who do this, these people who are vessels for that energy.
Pastors, yeah.
These people who are vessels for this energy, they are, you have these people, you have these spiritual energies jumping into you anyway, whether they in the church and these people supposedly catching the Holy Ghost. That's all demonic possession anyway. You understand? That's all the same thing, catching the spirit and all this other stuff. So you're an open vessel for it anyway. And they supposedly doing these exorcisms and whatnot, but these are the same ones that let the energies into you. They do things like a lot of the music that they play is meant to open you up emotionally to let these things in.
Yeah, and I agree with that because I used to play the drums, and we had a specific way at a time to play the music in the church. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree with you that.
Yeah. They the ones that put these energies into you. These spiritual energies into you. They all into incantations and certain singing and whatnot, and chanting at a certain level, and they do espices and whatnot, or masses, because the same way they refer to mass on Sunday in the Catholic Church is the same mass they do in the Satanic Church. It's the same thing. And Christianity comes out of Catholicism. So it's all the same rituals. All right? All the same rituals. All right. Okay.
Appreciate it, bro.
Take another call. All right, brother. Take another call. 443.
Hi, Nubian. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. So I have a few questions about Monday's broadcast. It has a lot to do with tonight's broadcast, but it's based off of that lesson. So the first one, you were talking about the crown and how spirits, they can travel in and out through a person's crown, right?
The crown seat, the top of the head. Mm-hmm.
Right. So do you know anything about the chakras and how the seventh chakra is?
Well, the chakra is only, I said that so-called black people don't have chakra points. That I said those people who are of the creation, they have that.
Okay,
they have chakra points.
So people who have souls, they have chakra points.
No, they don't. People with solar energy don't carry chakra points. Those with spiritual energy carry chakra points because those are they work like turning wheels. They turn.
Right.
Those are energy points.
I got you. Okay, so that was my first question. Another question. So you know how they say, since you said they can transfer through, the spirits can transfer through the top of your head. So some people believe that if you cover your head, it can protect you from the spirits transferring through in and out your the top of your head.
Well, that was the point of these people wearing all kinds of head coverings in religion.
Right.
But that's not really it, because they could come into you during your sleep time and things like that. If you open yourself up to these things emotionally, they will travel into you. So.
Okay. And another question is, so if you have a soul and you are on the physical form, Now I know you were saying that people spirits who are on the physical form, they can tell if a person has a soul and they'll try to stay away from them. But now the spirits who are on the who do not have who are trapped in the spiritual realm, can they attach themselves to people who have souls?
No.
No, they can't.
Cannot.
Okay.
They can, and that means you are in the spiritual realm. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. All right. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. And we are back. I'm going to take a call. I see a call up there. 443, you're on the air.
Hey, Nabia, what's your input on sage and sweetgrass and all of incense and stuff that repel negative spirits away?
What is my thought on it? I mean, I guess it's okay to use. I mean, but ultimately, what attracts any type of negative energy is people, right? Open vessels.
Right.
So it don't matter what you burn or what you put together. It's people.
Okay. And so, what about sweetgrass? So if you live with people who have negative energy and negative spirits with them, and you burn, so sweetgrass, it attracts positive energy. So that's okay to burn too, right?
I mean, that's fine, but again, it don't matter whether it's positive or negative. Some of the biggest energy those demonic possessions come to the so-called positive people.
Right.
So positive and negative is the same thing, really.
Mhm. Okay, that was it. Thank you.
All right. You know these when you see the Catholic priests, they wearing the all black with the white. That white represents the spiritual or that Luciferian side, right? That Luciferian order, and the all black represents the satanic side, right? That God, they're never going to tell you the true name of their God because their God is Satan. They don't want you to know that. And their God is Lucifer, right? Notice how they can give all these names. I'm going to show you something funny. Notice how they can give all these names to the devil, right? The so-called devil, but why is it that God don't have no name? You ever notice that? You got Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub, Iblis, all these different names that Satan has, but why doesn't God have any names? Any real names that stick within their religion? Because they're not focused on any creator. They're not focused on the Most High. The God that they focused on as a title is Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub. Because every time they tell you, they're like, oh, we have to do this so that we don't get taken by Satan and everything. The world is in the hands of. Don't they always say this in the church? They say the world is in the hands of Satan, right? This world is in the hands of Satan. Now you would think with all these so-called churches, mosques, temples, synagogues, who's supposed to be against Satan, how can the world be in the hands of Satan? Does that make sense? How about the reason why the world's in the hands of Satan or Lucifer or whatever is because these people put it there, and they wanted to stay there because they can't say that this world belongs to the devil, this world belongs to this world is in the hands of the wicked and whatnot. How did it get there, and who keeps it there? You understand? You got all these religions on the earth that claim they're supposed to be for the good, or they believe in the Creator, the Most High, and whatnot. But then why is it the world in the hands of Satan then? Why do you have all this degeneracy here? Right? Why do you have all of that? And it's just coming out right now. See, that's why I told you we're in the book of Revelation right now. See, y'all don't understand that. We in the book of Revelation, and the elect is being raised. The true people of the Lord are coming out. The Most High, Amen. These people who are in religion, they're not following the Lord. They're not following Amen. They're following Satan, which is man. The Luciferians, which is man. Which is these men who decide to set themselves up as gods on earth. You understand? Doing what they want. That whole do as thy will. Aleister Crowley. Do whatever you want to do. I'm my own God. Like them niggas say in the conscious community, I'm my own God. We don't need to follow them. I'm my own God. Basically chaos and confusion. They about chaos and confusion. I'm my own God. The black woman is God. Right? Y'all look at the white man as God. Because that's what they did when they put that picture of Jesus up there. They was basically showing you the white man is God. You understand? That's the Nation of Islam. Then when they put Fard up there, they're showing you the white man or the mulatto man is God. Oh, we don't believe in no spook thing. That's what they say. We don't believe in no spook God. Really? Well, if you telling me you don't believe in no spook God, and you saying you don't acknowledge a so-called, as you say, spook God because we can't see that God, so we don't acknowledge him as the Most High, the Creator. Well, you can't see air, but you're breathing it. If you see the work of the Creator here. You see the earth. You see your physical makeup. You see your body. You see the work of the physical Creator here. The physical work of the Creator here. That didn't come from man. That didn't come from your Fard Muhammad. That didn't come from your Allah, whoever it is, which is really Muhammad. That didn't come from your Jesus Christ. You see the physical makeup of man and woman here on earth. You see the planets. You see the elements. That had to be put here by beings, supreme beings, which y'all say don't exist, which you call spook gods because you don't see them. But again, you can't explain to me if you so-called gods and you the God, you your own God. Tell me how you got here. Tell me how your biological structure works. Tell me how all this works. Who put you here? Who put your system in order? Point of all this. What's the purpose of this? See, because these people want to sit up here and promote this. We are gods and we are our own gods. BS. Because they want to follow the white man. Because that's the philosophy of the white man. And then these Negroes who follow the black man is God nonsense and following that whole philosophy, like I said, that's the philosophy of the Caucasians, who are so-called atheists. You understand? Who say there is no creator, there is no Most High. That they gods, they trying to figure stuff out in that Enlightenment age, which is really that lunar or that lunacy mindset, that lunatic mindset. Because, when they talk about the lunacy or the lunar activity, which is the Luciferians, the lunar represents the Luciferian. Because it's really not Lucifer, it's Lucifer. Lucifer is the Lord of the Circle or the Lord of the Ring, right? The leader. And who is the Lords of the Ring today? The Luciferians, the Illuminati. They're the ones that's pushing this. There is no God. There is no creator. There's only man on earth is God, and we just gonna figure it out. But you have to, in order for you to figure something out about how Earth works and all this other stuff, somebody had to put it here for you to figure out. But you want to discount that. That's Luciferianism. That's Luciferianism. You so-called black women who follow that philosophy, it's the elements, the spirits, and the talking to the spirit and the element. That's Luciferianism. You understand? That's Satanism and Luciferianism. Like I said, that's why these people, like I said, it's the same as those people who was back in the day with Moses and all that the so-called Moses, right, which is Tutmos. These people was worshiping idols, worshiping elements, worshiping physical material. It's the same as these people today. The fire, the air, the Mother Nature, and all that's Luciferianism, and that's the worship of the worship of Eve's seed or Wiccan religion, which is witchcraft. Basically, people setting themselves up as gods on earth, gods and goddesses. That's witchcraft. You understand? And I know a lot of these people, they're starting to be drawn to that in different angles and different things and whatnot. Like I said, they being drawn to that. When you hear that spirituality talk, when you hear that casting lots, like you Israelites do talking about casting lots, you guys are into witchcraft, man. I heard a lot of you guys talking, ain't nothing wrong with casting lots, but you say if you do it on the right-hand side, because they run this crap about, there's nothing wrong with casting lots if you on the right-hand side or you on the left-hand side, or there's nothing wrong with the goats thing if you on the left-hand side. Look, man, all that left-hand, right-hand crap is nothing. It's the same thing, man. That's like saying the cracks are different. They are not different. They're the same. You understand? Because if you got two hands on a body, whether your right hand or your left hand, it's all on the same damn body, man. It's the same thing. They want to try and pass it off as something else because they want to utilize certain things of the craft. They want to use certain things in the craft or in the witchcraft, which again is Satanism and Luciferianism. You understand that? They want to do things like that. So again, pay attention, even down to using the 5-pointed star, right? Using the 5-pointed star, which represents the woman. Even the number 7 that they use, right? Because they say 6 represents the devil, right? Which is man, and that 1 plus 1 equals 7, which is really Luciferianism. That's Lucifer. You understand that? The light bearer. Because what it's 7 is 1 above 6. 7 is 1 above 6, because the reason 6 represents Satan, right, or Saturn, is because you're talking about the element of the creation of man, and they talk about the 6 days of creation and whatnot, and then they saying God rested on what? The 7th day. Now, question: if this God is supposed to be the creator, right, the Most High, how is God resting on the 7th day? What creator rests on the 7th day? Men rest. Men get tired. A creator does not rest. And the 7th day is what? Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday is the first day. The 7th day is Saturday, as in Saturn. You understand? Where they do their Sabbaths. There used to be a rock group called Black Sabbath. They were satanic worshipers. What do your church do? Sabbath. What do your Israelites and your Jews do? Sabbath. You understand? It's all the same thing. They don't want you to know that, though. They don't want you to know that it's all linked together. Right? They don't want you to know that it's all linked together. And again, that's the worship of Eve's seed. That's the worship of Eve's seed. Because those malevolent beings that came to the Eve seed when they was doing the Eve project, and they basically came with creating the female seed. They went to the female first, right? And it's the same way they use the female today. It's the same way they use the female today. The malevolent ones went to the female. The malevolent reptilians, or those almond beings, those malevolent ones who were cast down, they went to the woman first to influence. And it's the same thing to this day. The same thing to this day. All of the rituals in your Bible can go hand in hand with Satanism. All of those rituals. All the stories, just read them. But you got to look at them, and don't look at them with that mindset of, oh, well, it don't mean the same thing. Don't come with this crap about, oh, it's the left-hand side. You hear these people talking about casting lots, cursing people. You understand? Sacrificing animals, sacrificing children. Right? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Answer: because, again, all the same thing. It is all the same thing. People getting baptized in the water, right? All the same thing. They're not gonna come. Like I said, they're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna tell you all of those rituals and the satanic rituals are the same thing. Eating flesh, drinking blood. Take the flesh of Christ, right? To drink the blood and eat the body of Christ. Wait a minute, eating flesh and drinking blood? That's Satanism. Only in the Satanist group, they actually eat the flesh and they drink the blood. They actually do that. That's the difference. And in Catholicism is symbolic. In Satanism, it's literal. They do it because it all comes out of the same thing. You understand that? The red wine is supposed to be blood. You understand? Flesh of my flesh. Blood of my blood, bone of my bone. Flesh of my flesh. Like I said, the 6 represents Satan, right? And the one above that represents the Luciferian, which 7 represents Lucifer. You understand? 7 represents Lucifer. Don't let them tell you they worship. When they say 7 worship God, the God they talking about is Lucifer. And because Lucifer is one above Satan, because like I said, in the realm of the spiritual realm is the higher or the other side of the physical realm, right? It's the higher side, the other side of the physical realm. Lucifer represents the spiritual side. Satan represents the physical side. So again, like I said, pay attention to this, what you're being trained to follow. Even you people that's following these philosophies of the beast, like metaphysics, that's all Satanism. Anything that says there is no creator, any doctrine that promotes no creator, no most high, no creator, that's Satanism. That's Satanism. Anything that's promoting that is Satanism. Don't let them fool you when they telling you, oh, the science, everything is science and whatnot. That's just the white man's way of pushing Satanism because he wants you to really worship him. You understand? That's all they're going to push. Nothing else. And like I said, I already know these so-called Israelites and all you people that's linked into the Bible, they're going to be coming on the YouTube and talking a lot of crap and whatnot. But like I said, read your Bible again. See, you ain't read your Bible. You ain't read it from a clear thinking mind. You read it as a believer. You read it believing that your so-called Abraham was a prophet of the Lord of the Most High. You read it believing that. You ain't read it seeing that your so-called Abraham was really nothing but a damn idol worshiper. You understand? And a pagan. You didn't read it that way. That this represented a group of people who were doing this. A band of traveling people who were moving through the desert, even into Islam, who were still doing this. Who were following it. And I say that in the Quran because, again, where does the Bible come out of? Where does the Quran come out of? The Quran comes out of the Bible because according to your so-called prophet Muhammad, your prophet Muhammad is supposed to be the successor to Jesus Christ. Now, how is he a successor to a Jesus Christ if there is no such thing as Jesus? No such person. I said Jesus comes from the whole ideology of Jesus comes from the Greco-Roman god Jupiter Zeus. That's where Jesus comes from. So if he's following the Greco-Roman teaching, because that's where all that beard stuff come from and the robes, all that come from the Greeks and the Romans, man. That comes from them. If they following that, then like I said, they nothing but a bunch of Greco-Romans, man. A bunch of desert Arab, because that's all Islam is nothing but Arab Catholicism. That's all it is. So they all link together. They cast lots in Islam too. They do that. You understand? They talk about that as well. That's all forms of witchcraft. They just change the names over. And their prayer, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In their beginning prayer, they're mentioning who? Satan. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Shaitan. That's Satan. Right? And their Surah Al-Fatiha. In the opening of the Quran, they're mentioning Satan. Why? If it's supposed to be about Allah. Why are they mentioning Satan? Let me take another call. 937. 937,
Hello?
I'm sorry. 937. Yes.
Hi. Okay, this is my first time calling in, and it's nice to speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just been listening to you for a couple months. I just came across you on YouTube, but I have a question. I didn't really get to listen to the show today, but my question is this: before my grandfather passed away last year, we were talking, and I just asked him, what he thought. Because he's an older man, and I just asked him, what he thought, how the future would be, basically. And he kind of scared me because, I'm like, what do you think it's going to be? How do you think things are going to be for me? And he told me, basically, they're trying to make things go into martial law. And he was in the military and everything like that for years, and he just said, that's the type of thing we're going to be over. government control. So I just want to ask you, like, just because I watch, I don't really watch TV, but if I watch TV, I see all types of fighting and things like that and violence. And that's the type of stuff that gets you in trouble. So I was just wondering, like, do you believe that's so?
About martial law?
Yes.
No, because if you have martial law, if you have people having curfews and can't come out the house, then you don't have crime anymore. This society functions on crime, and in order for crime to be committed, people have to be able to come out at night and move freely to commit crime.
So you think it's always going to be like this? Like it's just always going to be chaotic?
No, not always. A new law is going to be restored, but this one has to be destroyed first. This one is on its way out. America's finished, and these people here are finished. The black race is finished. The white race is finished. And a new law has to come in. A new law is going to be restored in the name of Amen.
So is that why people are really acting? Because I even noticed it, like, with my own family and friends. Like, people are really losing their minds. Unnecessarily, it seems like. Like, it's just a total flip in personality, like, within these past couple years.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. They're going to lose their mind. Either people are going to find their minds or lose their minds. That's how that's going to go. Either people are going to find their minds, they're going to get in alignment with what they're supposed to be doing and who they're supposed to be with, or they're going to lose their minds further into this 3 dimension because all this is all is falling away.
All right. Well, thank you for taking my call. It was nice speaking with you.
All right. Nice speaking to you too. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I want y'all to notice something. Notice in all these religions, I see you 414, I'm about to take your call. Notice in all these religions, what do they say hell is? Hell is the fire. They say hell is fire, right? Why do they say hell is fire? Hell is fire because fire represents the sun. In other words, the son of righteousness would be considered the devil or the antichrist, right? The fire, right? They call the son of man and the place of the sun, fire, hell, right? Hell. That's considered hell, right? And to these people, see, because the Luciferians, they don't deal with fire. They deal with light, and they deal with darkness. The fire represents the sun or brightness. That's what that deals with. That's why they say anything coming from fire. See, fire purifies everything because when it burns everything, when it destroys everything, it purifies, it kills things. All of the things in the state of dark matter, it destroys things. Let me take another call. Amen represents the fire. 414.
Peace and greetings, brother. How you doing?
How you doing?
Good, good. So I just wanted to share this experience. I was about 10 years old, and I had grew up in the Christian religion or whatnot, and I can remember in Sunday school asking the question. It was like the first Sunday where they did that ritual communion. With eating the wafer and drinking the cranberry juice or whatever it was for the representation of the blood. But I was the only one in Sunday school class asking why would we be like eating a man's body and drinking a man's blood? Wouldn't that be like us being like cannibalistic? And I had referenced it to like Jeffrey Dahmer because that's how I had understood it, as a child at 10 years old. And I remember the Sunday school teacher not answering the question, but she actually had put me out of class. It made me go sit in with the adults in a large congregation, and I just remember that. So I just wanted to speak on that and just tell you, like, I know the things that you're saying are the truth, and you connect for so many of us. And thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It is very true, and like I say, more and more of this stuff is coming out to be seen. You know, it's not going to be, all this stuff, like I said, because we're in the age of revelation. And in the age of revelation, everything is revealed. Everything is revealed in the age of revelation. Right? That all of these religions and all these people that are accepting these philosophies in society today are following Luciferianism. Right? That Kali Mat, or that so-called what's the guy's name? The guy who said "Do as thy wilt." That guy. These are all Luciferians. Right? These are all Luciferians. Okay. This is what they about. This is what they follow. And again, I'm gonna tell people this got nothing to do. That has nothing to do with Egypt. Luciferianism has nothing to do with Egypt. The pharaohs and them bore witness of Amen. That's why they were the true chosen people of the Lord. Your pharaohs and them. That's why, and those people in those pyramid societies, they bore witness to Amen. They was not Satanists. They were bearing witness to Amen. It was your people who were in the desert. They were bearing witness to Satan. It was those people. Those people in those desert religions, your Islam, your Christianity, your Judaism. Those were the people who fell in with the pagans, because the pagans were traveling, right, from those different places, and they were linking up, and they were hooking up and linking up and whatnot, and they were forming their own religions, right? They desert religions, they pagan religions, and they were setting up their own laws, and in setting up their own laws, they started worshiping and following these different pagan or animal gods and things like that. That's what that's about, right? That's what that's about. I told you in the Superman story, in the first one, where Superman is Clark Kent, he's going through the desert, which they show as Alaska or Antarctica. He goes to the desert. He has the hair on his face. He has the beard on his face, right? Because he's lost in the wilderness, and he's following the people in the wilderness, right? And in doing that, following those people in the wilderness, because he was raised by by these Caucasians, by these humans. He followed. He crossed the ice, which is representative of the burning sands, like the Masons do. They crossed over. He crossed over. He had the beard on his face. Then once he built his fortress of solitude in Alaska or in Antarctica, then they started to give him the history of his people, who were your extraterrestrials, who were really supposed to be your almond beings, who were your sun people who came from those solar planets, so that's movable solar planet, right? They gave him his lineage and his history and linked him into the future, and they showed him that he would be the future of the people, or the future of their race, and he inherited their power on Earth. And right after that, he became a Superman. He became an extraterrestrial, or that supernatural. That's what's supposed to happen to the almond being and their descendants here on Earth, who are the elect, the 144,000. They're supposed to form a new society of extraterrestrials known as almond on Earth, and they will be over the Luciferians and be over the Satanists who are on Earth, which is really your human race. Your human race are Satanists and Luciferians. They don't know it, but they are. If they following religion, they following the philosophy of the white man, they following all this psychological BS, they following Luciferianism. They following his concepts and whatnot. That's all Luciferianism. Atheism, all that's Luciferianism. His metaphysics, all that's Luciferianism. Because when you take the Creator out of the equation, that's Luciferianism. That's that Enlightenment garbage. That lunar teaching that tries to say that because without the sunlight, without the brightness, which comes by way of the almond being to put this solar system in effect, without the brightness of that projection of that brightness from the sun, there would be no moon. And without the moon, without the projection of the solar energy from the sun that the almond beings put forward, there would be no moon and there would be no earth. Because, again, everything comes out of that projection. The moon comes out of that projection, and the earth comes out of that projection. Understand that. Once they severed their tie with the Creator, they became Satanists. Once they start talking about the ancestors, they start talking about African spirituality. Once they start talking about all that bullshit, they became Satanists, man. Pan-Africanism, they start talking about Christianity, Islam, Judaism. Once they started talking about that, they became Satanists. Once they start focusing on the people in the Bible, all that nonsense and whatnot, all that chaos and confusion, because that's all the humans are about is chaos and confusion and nonsense, they became Satanists. Once they started focusing on people, places, and possessions and idols and icons and all this other nonsense and statues and rocks, they became Satanists, man. They became Satanists. They disconnected from the Creator, the Most High. They don't even know what the Most High is. They start talking about casting lots and all this other stuff, and the black woman is God, or woman is God, and the man is God, all this nonsense. They became Satanists, man, Luciferians. And that means they linked into that three-dimensional, low-level energy. Now it's out, and that's it. So let me go ahead and answer these questions before we go. Is Satan the true God of the Bible and the Quran and the religious world? Yes. Satan on the in the darkness of it, on the lower levels of it, in the physical realm, Satan is the God, and on the lighter side of things, the light side, Lucifer. Who is the people in charge of the of Lucifer? Who represents Lucifer today? Your Luciferians, your Illuminati. They represent Lucifer today. They're practicing Luciferian practices. Those who are of light, right? Enlightenment. Who represents the Satanists today? Your religious leaders, your popes, your ministers, your reverends, your satanic witches and whatnot. They represent the dark part of that belief system, that satanic belief system, that Wicca witch belief system. They represent that. And they all agree on one thing, that they don't want no connection to the Creator. They don't want the Creator to come back here. They don't want the Amen being to come back here. They don't want that. But see, it's going to happen whether they like it or not, damn it. It's going to happen whether they like it or not, and they fighting against it. That's why they say, oh, the fire represents the devil and whatnot, because they really trying to make hell, because they know once Amen come back and bring that fire to their ass, that's it for them, and destroys their kingdoms. So yes, Satan is the god of the religious world. Is this hidden? Yes, it is hidden. It's a hidden secret. Yeah. Do people in these religious movements know it? No, they don't. The majority of them don't know it. The majority of them don't know it, but they on board with it because, like I said, they shape their gods basically to their own personality. So when they shape their gods to their own personality, they made themselves gods. And if you made yourself a god, you disconnected yourself from the Creator, because we're supposed to function as judges under the Lord, not our own gods. You understand that? We're supposed to function, the elect, the chosen are supposed to focus as judges under the Lord. And the only place the judges are being drawn together is in the Republic of Mentellect. No place else. If you're not in the Republic of Mentellect, you're not part of the 144,000 judges. You're not part of it. Because this knowledge is only for the elect. So all you people outside are, if I ain't part of your thing, no, it ain't my thing. It's Amen's thing. You people talking about, oh, that's your thing. That's because you guys are still Luciferians mentally. You've been programmed to be Luciferians. You got a lot of programmed Luciferians who pushing chaos and confusion and disorder. Amen came to bring the next order on earth again through this covenant, the 144,000 that's spoken in the book of Revelation. Who is Satan and who is Lucifer? Satan represents the dark side and Lucifer represents the light. Satan is in charge of the earth. Lucifer is in charge of the lunar activity, the moon. The Luciferians, the Illuminati. And your reverends, your low-level people, and that body represents your ministers, your reverend, and all these other people. Your reverends, all your religious leaders, your imams, they all part of that. Who is the true Lord Creator? Amen is. Amen is the true Lord Creator. That's why I say the one and only true Lord, not they false Lord or they false God, which is your elites. That's their God, the elites. Because they'll do anything for their gods to get material possessions, because they worship material things, dark matter. That's real. Join me Friday night for the next Mentellect Radio broadcast. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares. This has been Mentellect Radio. Good night.
Mentellect, rising out the black race to the bright race, out the black race to the bright race. The students public of Mentellect, black race to the bright race.
If it's hell, I'm and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can do. We